Good morning, everyone. I'd like to open this Polk County Board of Commissioners. It's July 1st, 2026. All commissioners are present. Announcements are on the table near the entrance. And first up on the agenda is link for comments, not on this agenda. Okay, people like to comment either way. Give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Joan Bostrom, 14920 Ferns Corner Road in Monmouth. I'm county though. There was an article recently on low-income housing by Tony Schick, OPB. And I don't know if you guys saw it. It was very interesting. Many critics have raced to increase its supply of affordable housing by turning a federal program that's existed since the 1980s, the low-income housing tax credit. And this is how it works. I first became conversant with it in the 1990s when I worked as a loan officer and a mortgage company manager. If you do a development of, say, $10 million, new construction, you get a 9% tax credit. So $9 million gives you $900,000, but it goes for 10 years. So that's $9 million. Your development is only costing you $1 million. But the big thing is it's sellable. You can sell that tax credit to a bank, to a corporation, to an individual. Nearly 2,000 of Portland's subsidized units sit vacant, and the unused at the last count, according to the Oregonian and the Willamette Week. This is happening from Seattle to San Francisco to Denver. Studies have concluded that the program, which currently supports 9 out of every 10 subsidized units built in America, is expensive and ineffective. Independent researchers have found little evidence has expanded the overall housing supply beyond what the market would have produced without it. It's focused on developers, investors, lawyers, and accounting specialists who profit off of the tax credit. Oregon's affordable housing production has skyrocketed in the recent years, so have rents and homelessness at the same time. Over the past decade, Oregon lawmakers doubled funding for the state's affordable housing tax credit and started offering low interest and tax deferred loans. All the new construction in Portland hasn't made a dent in the city's affordability crisis. A report from the Portland Housing Bureau in 2025 found that rent and home sale prices were growing faster than incomes, while the city's vacancy rate was also rising. By one industry estimate, U.S. cities, at least 40%, have an affordable housing program that is directly competing with market rate rents for individuals.
That's your 3 minutes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, Joan. Name and address for the record, please.
David Pastor, 11100 Mistletoe Road, Polk County, Oregon, also just outside of Monmouth. I gave you county commissioners a copy of a letter, and surprises are generally not good unless they're birthdays or winning lottery tickets. And I don't want you to be surprised if you see this letter in the Polk Itemizer Observer this morning or today. It's an open letter to you, and I won't go into the weeds of it. It's given there, but it basically says that the law that Paul Evans passed, HB 2647, is a very confused law. It tells you to approve things and gives you the section of the law to approve it. And then on the next page, it says, by the way, you can't use that section to approve it. So you are in a no-win situation. However, I'm going to suggest the one loophole you have in that law is you don't have a time frame to make a decision. You can sit on it You can send it back to the city and say, we're confused in a nice way. And would you please have Mr. Evans clarify this bill so that we can actually do something with it instead of just giving us a rubber stamp of approval we can't see. I did see one good thing about this is that I've come in contact with a lot of good people in this controversy in the city and in the county. And I will say this about the county staff versus the city staff. I've always been pleased with their actions. A couple of the planning commission staff are here and they've been very gracious. Your attorney's been gracious. And I've sensed a positive attitude in the staff that are here. And that means that the people in charge are doing a good job. They're hiring the right people. They're giving them support. I haven't sensed that at the city, which is too bad. We're working on changing that. We have elections coming up this week, or in November rather. And Mr. Pope, I wish you lived in Monmouth. You could retire from this and become a city councilor.
Thank you. Average new career.
Okay, well, I tried. In any event, thank you for the time and thank you for giving careful look at this law. And we hope that when you do get to it, we'll be here to answer any questions that are there.
Thank you, Dave. Name and address, please.
Thank you so much, Chair Mordhorst, members of the board. My name is Ty Wyman, and my address 851 Southwest 6th Avenue, Suite 1500, Portland 97204. And I submitted a letter a day or two ago that does pertain to Agenda Item 8. However, just because that's not set for public comment, I just wanted to rise now and introduce myself, also introduce my client, who are members of the Sulamita Recreation Center. And we just want to be available for any questions that you might have when Agenda Item 8 comes up. We appreciate your consideration.
Anyone else at this time like to address the board for things that are not on the agenda? And next up, looking for approval of agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Approval of minutes from June 24th, 2026.
I move approval. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Approval of consent calendar.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. That brings us to item number 7, public hearing, open space and land special assessment planning file, SA 2601. Anna Brickner.
All right, thank you. I am Hannah Brickner, Senior Planner with the County Community Development Department. I'm here today because the applicant in SA 2601 file number submitted an application to the Polk County Assessor's Office requesting open space special assessment designation on a 55.5 acre property in the farm forest zone. The criteria for this request are set forth in Oregon Revised Statute 308A300 through 308A330. These criteria include a requirement that the request be referred to the Planning Commission and the county governing body to ensure that the proposed open space use is compatible with local land use regulations. These criteria specify that the request be processed in the same manner as a comprehensive plan amendment. The Planning Commission has held a hearing on June 2nd, 2026, and they have recommended approval of the application. Excuse me. Staff's findings addressing the criteria are found in the staff memorandum that was made available a week prior to this hearing. Staff recommends that the Board of Commissioners find that the proposed legislative amendment is in the public interest and would be of general public benefit, and approve the application for open space land special assessment designation on the subject property. Staff also recommends the board identify the open space use upon which approval is based as native habitat open space non-recreational and adopt draft order 2611. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Questions?
No questions.
Okay. Thank you, Anna. At this time, the applicant for this here today would like to make a statement? We'll open for public testimony at this time then. Would anybody like to testify on this? Either for or against? So questions from the board, any individual?
Brett the file.
Okay,
Move to adopt.
Second.
Close the hearing.
so I'll
Oh, yeah,
close,
Takes out.
I will close the hearing
Thank you.
at this time. And now I have a motion
Yeah, move to.
and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimous. Okay. And that brings us to item number 8. Appeal for planning file 25-14, Sydney Shorter.
Morning. For the record, I'm Sydney Shorter, Planning Manager for Polk County Community Development. I'm here this morning in regards to an appeal that was submitted for Planning File CU 25-14, which is a proposal to establish a youth camp within the Timber Conservation Zoning District. The subject property is approximately 100.7 acres in size and is located at 7425 Gold Creek Road, Willamina. A significant resource management plan was also submitted and reviewed as part of this application, specifically for road construction within the inventory deer and elk habitat area, which is considered a conflicting use pursuant to Polk County Zoning Ordinance Chapter 182. So for some background of timelines of how we got here today, on May 5th, 2026, a public hearing was conducted before the Polk County Hearings Officer. On June 10th, the hearings officer issued an administrative order denying the application. On June 11th, staff sent notice of the decision, and on June 23rd, a timely appeal was submitted by the applicant. The full record, the hearings officer's decision, the appeal, and a staff memorandum were provided to the board last week on June 24th. As specified in the staff memorandum, I'm here today to ask the board how you would like to proceed in issuing the final local decision. If the board chooses to ratify the hearings officer's decision, a public hearing would be scheduled prior to adopting an order as the final local decision. Alternatively, the board could conduct an additional de novo public hearing before making a final decision. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions?
To the board now.
So do I hear any motions, whether we want to send this, adopt what our staff has found, or to make a decision ourselves?
So a question for council related to the recent letter. There seems to be some tension between zoning ordinance section 111 and 119. However, 119 does reference 111 as the process for appeal hearings officer. Is that your understanding that we can set this? I'm just looking for confirmation that we can set this for hearing in front of to ratify whether or not to ratify the hearings officer's decision or open a new hearing.
I think it would be a hearing either way, either for the ratification of the hearings officer's decision versus if you wish to conduct your own de novo decision on the matter.
So deliberating the hearings officer's decision would not be a de novo full evidentiary hearing. Okay.
So Maureen, you want to clarify our decision today?
So the decision today is for you to elect which path you want to take for the application. So the hearing has been conducted before the hearings officer. The hearings officer has rendered a decision. So your option is you can ratify the hearings officer's decision, or alternatively, you can conduct your own de novo hearing and open up the facts and make your own decision separate and distinct from that of the hearings officer's decision. Under our code, though, there's a public hearing required for either. So in one hearing, if you were looking to potentially ratify the hearings officer's decision, you would still conduct a hearing, but the hearing would be whether to ratify or not. If you wish to change or modify any of the decisions within the hearings officer's decision, you would have to conduct your own de novo hearing on the matter.
Do I have a motion for either way?
Can you just
Yes.
for the benefit of people that are listening, explain what de novo means?
De novo.
You guys throw that around like everybody knows it.
Sorry. De novo would mean that it would be, you would open up all of the facts and make your own fact finding.
I'm leaning towards scheduling a public hearing to consider ratification of the hearings officer's decision. I have reviewed the file, the staff memo, and all of the materials. So if you're looking for motions, I'll move to direct staff to schedule the required hearing for board consideration of ratifying the hearings officer's decision in planning file CU 25-14.
Then I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to ratify what staff has presented.
No, to conduct,
Schedule a hearing.
To conduct a hearing.
to schedule a subsequent proceeding regarding the ratification.
Yes. Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed unanimous. Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you.
There's a lot of work on that, so thank you. Item number 9, for year 2026-2027 master fee schedule and resolution number 26-9. Mr. Greg Hansen.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, annually, the county sets its new fee schedule for the upcoming fiscal year. Included in your packet and what was discussed previously on last Tuesday, the fees have been proposed and set for your consideration in Resolution 2609. If you want a bigger look at it, I have the bigger paper. We have microscopic paper in here. There was one change from what occurred last Tuesday. We looked at a fee in the planning department, and rather than increasing that fee for appeal, we maintained it to remain the same as it currently is. Other than that, I believe Commissioner Gordon requested someone from the fair talk about their fee increases and that, and how they look to address revenue shortfalls that we're experiencing currently. So if Mr. Tim Ray's here, if you want him to talk, that's up to
I
you.
don't have to come forward, but happy to.
Yeah, that'd be great. I just wanted for the public's benefit to, there are a few adjustments to the fee schedule for the
More than a few.
fairgrounds, right? If you could just talk us through some of the process that you and the fair board members and staff had to address those. And also I'm kind of looking for, given that we are going out for a levy, I understand that fees alone, rental fees and the like, will not sufficiently cover operations and maintenance going forward. But if you could give a little background and context there, that'd be great.
Love to.
Wait,
Yeah.
do we have to introduce ourselves?
Could you introduce yourselves and your connection to the fair?
Go ahead.
Kelly Tynan, 235 Edwards Road South, number 98 in Monmouth, and I am a new fair board member.
Tim Ray, 670 Loring Drive Northwest in Salem, Oregon. And I currently serve as the chair of the fair board.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to discuss. We all know the situation around the fairgrounds. And so every May at our May meeting, we discuss fees. And for many years, if we're being open and honest, the last several years, we felt it pertinent to hold fees fairly constant at the fairgrounds as a way to help the community recover from the year that no one speaks of, right? It just, everybody was hurting and we really need it to be a community resource, and we didn't want to outprice anybody from being able to use the facility. Right or wrong, none of us have a 1986 DeLorean, so we can't go back and change that. That was our philosophy then. We're faced with new challenges now, and as part of that, the Fair Board has dug in pretty hard the last several months, and actually we have a draft, not for publish yet, but we have a draft business plan updated for the fairgrounds that addresses our current situation and how we really see the fairgrounds moving forward. As part of that, we are considering a 5-year table of fees currently, someone comes in and sees Tina right now and wants to schedule an event for 2028, they sign a contract for today's rates. In essence, locking in a fairly significant discount for when their event actually happens, because we don't have a published rate fee schedule right that far into the future. And so we are considering a rolling 5-year fee schedule so that every year we're looking 5 years in advance and determining what those fees would be, so that when events are scheduled, they're paying real dollars and not devalued dollars. Again, that's not going to cover the shortfall, but it's a simple thing we can do to charge people actual cost for the time that they are incurring the use of the building. So that's part of it. The other part is we realize we need to play catch up and inflation. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but what you pay today for things is significantly more than it was 4 years ago, which is really the amount of time that we haven't significantly raised rates. So we looked at this through the lens of, and Kelly was great at this because she operates at other venues as well and understands what that cost value is. And so we looked at this as we need to play catch up a little bit. So most of these rates are 5% increases. I know inflation right now is only running 3 to 3.5, but we've got several years of catch up to do, and we didn't want to do a 15% rate increase. That prices us out of the industry, right? So we're looking at proactively forecasting forward 3 to 5% increases over the next 5 years as small catch-up increments to get us where we need to be, assuming the levy passes, right? By the end of that levy, we're at a more marketable market value rate for that facility than we are currently, and helping to close that gap as we come to the end of that first operating levy. So that was our thought process, right or wrong. That's where we were. That's where we are, is really trying to be proactive in. We also have generated some other marketing ideas around use of the buildings and how we can better, again, there's 700 events that happen there throughout the year, but are there other events that could fill in off times and help generate revenue as well? And so we talked through a number of ideas. In fact, we didn't officially, but we're going to change the name, not of Building A, but of the wings that we affectionately refer to as the textile room and the dining room. Those aren't going to be the names anymore. It's going to be north and south wings because they're more descriptive of what they are. And if you go in and say, I want to rent the textile room, it kind of limits what your thinking is around what you can do in that room. And in reality, it's just an empty room with walls and a cement floor. So anything can happen in there. It doesn't have to be textile related. So things like that we're working forward as well. There's things we can do in Building B that would make that we think a premier facility for meetings and social gatherings and things like that, with some small upgrades could really enhance that facility and allow not necessarily rent increase, but occupancy, right? Rates of that building. So that's where we're at. Happy to answer any other questions. Again, we're trying to do incremental increases to catch up and not price anybody out of being able to use the facility. But at the same time, we have to start to recoup real costs for today and not the costs from 2022. So that was our rationale. Does that help?
Absolutely. I appreciate the position you all are in, and appreciate not sending a shock to the market by getting us where you need to be. But can you talk a little bit more about those targets? You know, I've experienced raising, unfortunately, having to raise, water and utility rates back when I was with the city. And that was it. We had a schedule over time, right, to incrementally get to a certain target.
Yeah.
So you see that target as feasible? You can see that on the horizon. Obviously, everything's contingent on.
We do. With the levy, we believe with the investment from the community into the facility, we can raise the value of the facility to still provide more value than what the rent would be,
Mhm.
right? Which is ultimately what you want to do. You don't want people thinking, oh, that wasn't worth the price that we paid. We want to, and part of that is customer service, and we know customer service at the fairgrounds is second to none, right? The staff there is committed and friendly, all the things. We want to make sure the facilities match the experience as well. And so that's, we're building in those increases to match where we expect the facility to be with the influx of the levy dollars and being able to make those critical upgrades to infrastructure that really are limiting the things that we're able to do right now with the power and the technology and just all of the things, even just as simple as, and I forgot to bring it with me this morning, but I have a rendering of building A as it is now. And I asked my assistant Gemini to do a rendering of what it would look like with new metal siding. Completely different building. I mean, it just looks amazing and something that people would like. I can hold an event there, right? Because it doesn't look like it was built in 1952 and last upgraded in 1952. So those types of things we think will incrementally move us forward and make the facility more marketable. And again, and then be able to match those rental figures with the capacity of it.
And does the draft business plan, will that eventually include some of that market analysis? Hey,
There actually is some, and I will leave a draft with you. Understand it says draft on it. We worked really hard on it at our work session in June. We didn't officially ratify it because this encapsulates all the changes that the board wanted, but we haven't had another meeting to officially adopt it. But I'm happy to leave this with you three so that you can look through it. And any comments or suggestions you have, please let us know.
I think it's a good process, given that we're asking the public. I mean, obviously, there's been public dollars invested over many decades,
Yes.
But this is a new ask. And I want to
Absolutely.
make sure they're seeing kind of the return on that ask.
And that's
at this phase of the lifespan of that fairgrounds. There will be future phases too.
Exactly right.
Because taking care of what we need to take care of now will open up future possibilities. I know you all have done a lot of great work on what those grounds could accommodate, and both from a public benefit and also from just a general revenue generator. So
absolutely
appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So
I don't have
any other questions?
Just a clarification, we are only addressing 26, 27.
Yes.
Their idea in their business plan actually probably can't work charging future rates that haven't been approved or established.
Right.
But I would suggest that they do if people are making reservations outside the fiscal year, that they take a deposit to hold their reservation.
Gotcha.
And then the new established rate in 27, 28 would be the balance that they would be owing. And those
we could put that in contract.
Yeah. And that's what we do now. We take a deposit. The challenge is we don't there's no language in the contract to update the price. So the price is already set.
All you would have to state is whatever year you're doing it, the new rate will be established.
It could be an adjustment.
Right.
Yes.
But an internal table to know where we're going, I think is helpful for staff to know. Right now, there is no guidance for staff on what things might cost in the future.
And most large events do plan 2, 3, even, 4 or more years out, because if you are holding, an event there annually, you want to secure those same dates every year. So people expect, hey, it's the last weekend in April or the first weekend in June. So it's critical to have that at least 5 years out.
Sure.
Absolutely.
So, and I'm just going to throw this in because my wife is an event coordinator, and Kelly, I know you do that too. Putting money down on a facility for 2 or 3 years and not knowing what your rate's going to be is going to be very sketchy. So hopefully we'll have some sort of an idea in that paperwork or guidelines. It'll be somewhere within these places for you to, because we've been priced out of markets.
Yeah, I think if we can have, based on the rules, something to the effect of it will not be greater than, that sort of thing is perfectly normal.
Yeah, the table projects out 5% increases, and maybe we actually only do 3% increases that year or something like that. But
And that's perfect.
yeah,
I also want to commend you on working on your price structure for rentals and everything going on at the fairgrounds. I know it won't make up the shortfall, but every bit helps.
Yep, absolutely. And we want to show the public that we are cognizant of the situation that we're in, and we want to be a public resource, but that has a cost to it, right? And so we're trying to walk that fine line between value and opportunity, right? We don't want to outprice anybody, but we also need to make sure that we're getting enough to maintain the wear and tear and the use of the facilities and all of those types of things. So we're very cognizant of that and trying to thread that needle.
So have you guys seen a spreadsheet or any kind of a ledger that shows a comparison of at least Oregon's 36 counties in fees and rental rates?
I don't know if that exists, but that's a good
I would
question.
really encourage you guys to reach out to OFA and put that, Oregon Ferris Association, put that responsibility
on them.
You pay dues for it, and I think it will help in this effort. It will help in all of our efforts in understanding how to compete. I'd be really curious today where we rank. I mean, that seems to be the trend line for everything today in politics is where do we rank?
Yeah.
I just read an article this morning about it. We're paying $18,000 a child for education in this state, and we're at the bottom. So my guess is for the fair, it's reverse of that, but we may still be near the bottom.
Be nice.
But I think it'd be important to know, especially given the fact that we have this cultivating article that needs to be addressed, and it would be helpful perhaps to be able to tell folks
cite some actual
where we actually are, especially given that apparently there's this belief that we're overpaid and don't perform. So I think that we need more analysis to help show folks out there just how hard this is. You know, and to the point you've made, and you guys have worked so hard in trying to keep this manage a balancing act of not scaring people off. So anyway, I would just like to see that. I think it might be helpful.
Yep.
I can tell you, I've done my own of the 3 counties I've chosen. By far, we are definitely the most affordable, but we are also the most non-modern, I guess.
Facilities.
I'm trying to think the delicate way to say this.
No.
You know, the price is reflective of the state that the facility is in right now.
It's
And
not just rates, it's also facility.
it's also facility, it's also the amenities, it's, so there's a lot that goes into those fees. So, one of the things to keep in mind is, you know, a lot of people like to compare it to Lynn County. Their fairgrounds are absolutely amazing. I mean,
also 3 decades newer,
yeah,
at least.
and they have, you know, the Willamette Hall that is, what do I want to say, 48,000 square feet. You know, we don't even have a facility
And
that
more
size.
convention center feel like.
And yeah, and an inside arena.
Yeah.
I mean, there's all sorts of things that they have so they can command those fees. But, you know, the first time I met with Tina, I remember her telling me how much it would be per day. And I was like, wait, really? Seriously?
This is zero.
But now that I've worked in the facility, that's, I think, totally fair. So I'm looking forward to hoping the community does support these investments, because I think we can actually make the facility much more marketable and much more appealing to other events.
Building on Commissioner Pope's point, maybe it'd be nice to have what you see as more realistic comparables for other facilities.
Absolutely.
And also kind of where.
Maybe 200 miles that way.
Right.
Yeah.
I know.
No, seriously, there's nothing in the valley that compares to us, quality wise. They're all right. I mean, there's a quality gap.
Yeah, that just sort of, that will determine kind of the feasibility of the rate structure.
Yeah.
And then also what this investment will set us up for in the future to enter into some other markets, right? Because that's the goal, is to bring more value to the community and more revenue eventually, right?
And
We're
we have,
taking care of what we need to take care of.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And we have other things fighting against us as well. I mean, we have a couple of larger conventions that would love to come and use the facility. Where do they stay?
Mhm.
Right? And so
Yeah, you guys
true,
gonna build a new hotel?
true economic development at some point requires lodging, restaurants within a reasonable driving or walking distance as well. And so, not to belabor the point, but we have, unfortunately, we've got several factors working against us all at the same time.
Mhm.
This is a broader destination development
Yes.
Yes,
issue.
At some point, yes,
absolutely.
yes.
Well, thank you both for being here. I don't mean to pick on you.
No, we appreciate the
No.
opportunity.
Simply to
Absolutely.
raise the conversation.
Absolutely. We appreciate the opportunity. Absolutely. Any other questions, comments, insertions, solutions, or other concerns?
Thank you for coming. So do I have a motion to adopt the master fee in resolution number 2609?
So moved.
And second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimous. Do you have any need for executive session today?
Yes, sir. The board will meet in executive session pursuant to ORS 192-660 sub 2D to conduct deliberations with persons designated by the governing body to carry on labor negotiations.